Hi, this is Dario. Welcome back to my channel, Motley Reads. Today I'm doing a book tag, although it's not Tuesday, but you who follow my channel know that I'm not really, these Tuesday tags. I'm doing tags, quite unpredictably. I think it's more fun that way. The tag that I'm doing today is the Divine Comedy book tag. It's tag originated by Tom over at Tom LA Books, and Tom is a huge fan of Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, and actually Tom is right now doing a series of 100 videos, one video for each canto of Divine Comedy, where he is guiding his followers or friends or pupils or whatever you want to call them or call us through each of the cantos. Is extremely knowledgeable within that particular piece of literature. Has lots of background information. I'm following and reading and watching these videos, and it's really a fantastic learning experience and a lot of fun. So if you never read Divine Comedy, or even if you read Divine Comedy by yourself, I would definitely recommend join us in this read along, because this is really great. Now you've done this tag. He has tagged me. Thank you very much, Tom. So I'm gonna do it. So this is a tag. It is several prompts here. It's in total 8 prompts. So yeah, without further ado, let's do this. So first one is called Virgil and Dante. And it says one of your favorite books featuring a master-pupil relationship between two of the main characters. Now here, for this prompt, I selected 2 books. And the first one is this one. It's in Swedish. It's a book by Umberto Eco. Name of the rose in Swedish is Rosens namn. This book is featuring this master and pupil relationship between William the William Baskerville, brother William Baskerville, and the young brother that is called Adzo, and the center of the story is not really their relationship, being a teacher and pupil, but they are there, older guy and a younger guy, and it is I'm sure that you know about the story. It is on the surface a murder mystery, but really it is a philosophical work, typical type of work that Umberto Eco is very well known for, and also they made a movie out of this with the late Sean Connery in starring in that movie. I think Christian Slater was also playing Adzo. So this is the first book for that prompt, and I really love this book. I read it back in I think it was in 2003. I think I read this book. I really like it a lot. Second book for this prompt is this one by Norwegian author Jostein Gaarder. This one is Swedish as well. It says Sophie's Värld, and it is in English. It's Sophie's World, and this is a quite unusual book. It is really a primer in philosophy. It is written as a kind of a in a novelish form, yet being a kind of non-fiction book, and it is about this girl Sophie, who is getting letters from the philosopher Alberto Knox, that is teaching her about the Western philosophy, really. And when you read this book, you follow this story, and you follow the development of Western philosophy in a great detail, and it's a lot of fun. So it was very popular. I think it was published back in 95 or 96 or something like that. No, even earlier, 91. It came out 91, but it was hugely popular in 90s. And this book, it is unfortunately quite forgotten. It should get more love, because it is really great primer and literally well executed. Sophie's World, for Sophie's World. Okay, so that's the first prompt. Prompt number 2 is called the Psychedelic Eagle, a book that fired up your visual imagination more than others. So here I don't have a book to show because it's a book that I'm currently reading / listening. So I'm listening as an audiobook. It's Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I never read anything by Dan Simmons. Frankly, I haven't even come across Dan Simmons before I joined the booktube community, and my American friends, they are all about Dan Simmons. So I watched a couple of videos, I got intrigued and started listening to that, and it is fantastic work. I really love it, and what I really like about it is very well written. It has really elaborate descriptions of these fantasy planets, and you really get you get really exercise for your imagination when you read that and try to understand how these things look like. So it is that's the one I would pick for this one. Prompt number 3. Count Ugolino, a book you read with such graphic and horrific descriptions that you will never forget them. So even for this prompt, I picked 2 books. One book that I read a long time ago, and one of a more recent date. The book that I read a long time ago is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, and this book, I'm sure it features quite a graphic murder scenes. Really sick scenes about slaughtering people, and very detailedly described in a work of this maniac. Patrick Bateman is his name, and I'm sure all of you know about this. It was done in the movie. Movie was pretty bad, I thought, but the book was good, and some of these scenes that are still in my mind of being really gross, really horrific. So that's the first one. Second is a different type of horror, really, but still extremely disgusting, graphic and disgusting, is Michel Houellebecq, Serotonin. It's his latest, Michel Houellebecq's latest book. It is published in 2018, I think, 2019. Yeah, 2019. And Houellebecq is pretty graphic in his writing. I find his writing as both very well executed, interesting, but he has always these scenes of really gross, sexually perverted scenes, and in this book it's worse than ever. Really, it is different. It is intercourse with animals. It is pedophilia. It is terrible, and it very graphic scenes, and this book made me, seriously question whether I would ever read anything more about Michel Houellebecq, because I think, the guy who is so much into writing this type of stuff in that level of detail, I really wonder, what is going on in this guy's head, and whatever is going on there, I'm not really sure that I want to support him anymore by buying and reading his books. But this was terrible. Prompt number 4. Cinematic Archangel. What book that's not been adapted for cinema would you make into a movie or a TV series if you were a producer with unlimited financial means? Now, the first thing you think when you hear this question is something great with fantastic scenes, like stuff like these Tolkien's books, or something science fiction and so on and so forth. But there's so many of these movies that are done. What I would really like to, there is an author that I like very much, who creates who has created a world that I enjoy a lot, and it's a world that is not very well known to people. It is a Finnish author. His name is Kjell Westö. And Sylvester is a Finland svensk, as we used to say here. So he's a Finnish Swede. So he's a ethnic minority in Finland. He's a Swede, and there is this ethnic minority. I don't know how many percent they are, but there are very few, although pretty influential and well integrated in society. Born in Finland in generation, but they speak Swedish, and he's one of these Finnish Swedes. He has written a series of books about Helsinki, about growing. He is growing up in Helsinki, and lots of stories about different people there, and it gives you really a great romantic picture of Helsinki. And I'm a big fan of Finland, and I'm a big fan of Helsinki in particular, and I think that that's the part of the world that is not very well known. Also, for some reason, I don't understand why. In Sweden, Finland and Helsinki is a bit of a joke. I really don't get it. I don't understand why. And I think that Swedes should get more educated about this fantastic country and a fantastic city of Helsinki. So I would invest my money in making a series of movies based on Sylvester's books, and I have several of them. Just his debut is this one. It's called the Drakarna över Helsingfors. So he writes in Swedish actually, because the Finnish Swedes they speak Swedish, and the Swedish is actually our official language in Finland. And from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, but it might be true that Finland is the only country in the world where Swedish is official language, including Sweden, because in Swedish constitution apparently Swedish is not mentioned as official language. Rather minority languages are mentioned, but in Finnish constitution the Swedish is official language, and up until recently Swedish was compulsory in Finnish schools. And now for American viewers, you think Swedish, Finnish, what is the there are two completely different language groups. It is like English and Chinese. They have nothing to do with each other. So it's not like Swedish and Danish and Norwegian. That's the same language family. You understand it quite well. If you speak Swedish, you can understand Norwegian and so on. But Finnish, that's a completely different story. If you don't know Finnish, you cannot understand Finnish. That's regardless of what other language do you know. Possibly Estonian, they are pretty close to, but Finnish is okay. Anyways, going back to Sylvester. Sorry for this detour. So Sylvester. So this is his debut novel. It's called Kites over Helsinki. And it is a coming of age story. You get really cozy, fantastic Helsinki feeling. And this is one of his late ones. It's the Sulphur Yellow Heaven. It's also another coming of age story in a completely different setting, in completely different types of people in social classes and so on. So this is. He's doing really fantastic job, and he's writing in a way that is pretty easy to make a screenplay out of this, and having this and that beautiful place, that would make a great screen adaptation. Okay, prompt number 5: The Noble Castle. Your favorite book by a pre-Christian philosopher, or a book about ancient Greece that you liked. Here I picked up a book by a philosopher. It is a Republic by Plato. This I really love this work. It is a source of inspiration to me. I like very much thinking about our current affairs, about our society, analyzing things that are going around us, and why things are like they are, all the deficiencies of our society. And then I use very often in my thought experiments this book as a reference of kind of utopian world that the Plato creates here, that of a perfect state, really. And then you can by thinking about this and looking at our politicians about how things are governed today, and see the difference between, and when he's explaining here why things have to be in a certain way in order to avoid nepotism, corruption, incompetence, and so on and so forth. Then you basically you see clearer the reasons why things are so bad as they are in many ways in our society. So this is always it will be always up to date in my view, especially when you study democracy and deficiencies of democracy. So Plato Republic. If you didn't read it, if you just heard about the cave, cave is that's just a sliver of this fantastic work. Take a time and read it. This is really, really great. Okay. Number 6, Paolo e Francesca, a book of any genre with a love story that you particularly liked as part of the central plot or not. Now, people that follow my channel know I'm not really, big in love stories, but there is one particular love story that blew my mind, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. I just read it last summer. It's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's, hands down, love story of love stories. I don't think that I need to read more love stories. This is the ultimate love story. And you bookish people, I really don't need to introduce this one to you. I needed introduction because I never read it until last year. But of course I've seen the screen adaptations and so on. But yeah, this was fantastic love story. So Pride and Prejudice. Okay. Prompt number 7. Ulysses. Name a book you loved, any genre, whose protagonist leads a group of people to follow his or her courage and ambition into adventure. Here I can also mention 2 different books. First, I don't have it here. I listened to it as an audiobook many years ago, but it was extremely interesting. It is a book by Slavomir Ravic. I think he's a Pole. It's called The Long Walk. And it is a book about this Polish cavalry officer who is leading a group of men that are captured, and they are in Stalin's Gulag prison in Siberia. So he leads a group of people who escape the really concentration camp, or whatever you want to call it, and they walk from Siberia through Mongolia and China down to India, and this is the story about this their journey, and all terrible, mostly terrible moments that they suffered through this journey. So that's the first book, The Long Walk by Slavomir Ravic. And the second, again, who follows my channel wouldn't be surprised. I just want to, again, always utilize any opportunity to talk about Salomon André, the Swedish engineer who was extremely ambitious, but utterly unrealistic in his ambition and also ability to analyze and prepare for adventure. Back in 1899, he together with 2 comrades flew with a balloon towards North Pole. He wanted to fly over North Pole and then land, either in Canada or in Russia or wherever. But he never made very far. They crashed on the Arctic ice, and after months of walking on ice, they died, all 3 of them, and still we don't know what they died of. And I made the video about this book, The Expedition, by Bea Usma, and Bea Usma is a Swedish physician who is really obsessed by this story, and she investigated investigated in detail, you know, really extreme detail, this expedition from very first day until, you know, whatever we know about them, in order to figure out what happened. And, you know, she has here theories, and but you know, this is a, you know, extremely detailed account. Watch my video if you're interested in this. It's really great book, The Expedition by Bea Usma. And another book on this theme is this book by Per-Olof Sundman. It's called the Air Travel of Engineer André, and this is more written in a form of a novel. This is a, you know, typical non-fiction exploration book, and this is a documentary novel. So, and finally, number 8, Saint Bernard the Poet. What is your favorite poetry books in translation? I'm not very big on poetry, really, but there are some poetry that I like very much. And in translation, I guess what is meant here is you know, non-English poetry that you know is or might be translated into English. And here again, I want to pick up two things. First is Swedish poetry. This is my favorite Swedish poet. He's more known as a novelist, really, but he wrote poetry as well. It's Per Lagerkvist. He's won Nobel Prize in literature back in 1951. Wrote lots of fantastic novels. I did a video when I started on BookTube back last spring about one of his novels, The Sibyl. And Per Lagerkvist, here's one of his poetry collections. It's called The Evening Land, and it is philosophical work, you know, introspective reflections on the nature of being, really, and very much concerned with mortality and the approaching death. You know, the event that is awaiting every human being. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? And what thoughts you get through? You know, short poems, but you know, very, as always in poetry, filled with content. Fantastic work. The Evening Land. It's translated in English as well. And then second is in general type of poetry that I grew up with, really. When I was a high school kid, I was much more in poetry than now. Like, you know, in most cases, I think lots of high school kids, they really like poetry. And the poetry that I really liked in my time in high school was the Russian poetry. Here's a collection in Swedish, Rysk Russian poetry, that is covering lots of different poets. And, you know, my favorites when I grew up, Sergei Yesenin is one of them, of course. Alexander Pushkin is another one. Even Maxim Gorky, he wrote some poetry. Then when I was a bit older and more senior in high school, I really liked Mayakovsky. Vladimir Mayakovsky, the futurist, the guy, you know, the crazy guy. Alexander Blok, Anna Akhmatova. So it's Russian poetry is really great. It is every perspective of, you know, human experience. There is somebody here that is captured in a certain way. But, you know, it is pain, really, you know, the different facets of pain. There is not much joy in Russian poetry. It is more, you know, heartbreak. So yeah. So this is it, and, you know, the last prompt is tag people, and, you know, since Tom tagged everybody in our corner of BookTube, I think that, you know, it's I would really like to see everybody who Tom tagged what they do of this. It's really great tag that made me think and made me pull out, you know, some of the books that I haven't really think about for a while. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.